Okay, we're live on, it's the 22nd of September, and I'm still, I think, a day behind. This should have been Monday's video on the 21st of September, and this is video number 14, I think, or 15, maybe it's 15, let's say it's 15. And today we're going to talk, or I'm going to talk about the phenomenon known as Plato's cave. Now, Plato's cave is in my book. It's something I talk about in relation to dieting, but it also is applicable to real life and life situations. And the way it applies to dieting, you'll see in a second. The sort of the story of Plato's cave is that there are a number of people and they are trapped in a cave, and they're trapped by chains on a wall, and they can see another wall in front of them. Now, on that wall in front of them, they can see the light from the opening of the cave, but they can't see the opening of the cave. All they see is the light hitting the wall. So their perception of reality is that the light comes from the wall. Okay, that's what they believe because that's what they can see. And there's nothing for them to believe that it should be otherwise, because that's all they've seen for their life. So it's quite reasonable to understand. I've only seen that. That's what I believe because I've seen that, and that's what the truth is. Excuse me. So one day, one of these people break free from their manacles, from their chains or whatever, and they go outside and they see that actually there's a whole world outside. It's they go out to the cave, they can see all the stuff, civilization, nature, all these sorts of things, but more importantly they see that the light which they thought was on the wall is actually generated by the sun, and it comes through the opening of the cave, and that's what hits the wall. So this guy or girl, whoever breaks away, goes back in and tells all the other people who are still chained to the wall. He said, "Oh, there's this, there's this world outside. All these things, what we thought was right is not right. This is what was right. There's a sun outside and it's shining. That's where the light comes from, and that's And the people who are still chained to the cave, they don't believe him. They think he's lying, and they think he's trying to manipulate them, and they kick him out of the cave, or they tell him to leave. They don't want him back again because he's got this alternate view of their reality. Now, this is obviously a very philosophical type projection here, but if you think about how this applies to real life, this does happen in a lot of situations, especially in dieting, weight loss, everything else. And what your perception might be of diets is that diets are always restrictive and hard and uncomfortable and generally not nice things to do, because every diet you've done has been like that. So why would it be any different? Why would any diet be different? You might want it to be nice and happy and not hungry and all that sort of stuff, but you've never found a diet that has provided that. So your perception of the world of dieting is that it's hard and it's uncomfortable, and you can't go out with your mates for food because it's not on the plan, and you have to do cardio and all these other things that have been perpetuated by people who you might have paid to give you diets, or diets that you've read in the paper, or diets that you followed in books by idiots who don't know how to write diet books. And that is your Plato's cave, and that is the cave that most people I meet live in, because they've tried dieting, they've failed, and their perception of dieting is that it's a hard, horrible situation to be in, and they don't actually want to be in it for very long. They just want to do it for as long as they possibly can, get out, and then hopefully maintain the weight loss. But that never happens, of course, because there's no systems built. And if you have been watching the videos, you'll know that I always talk about systems and building systems and making sure you have those things in place to continue your weight loss, or your diet, your fat loss, I should say, after you finished the diet, the time that you've been on a diet. So my sort of job today is to try and convince you that you're not in Plato's cave, then actually you're one of the free people who can go out there and see that there are other diets out there which don't hurt you, make you tired, make you whatever, all these negative things. And that's hopefully what you found by doing the Star Challenge for the last 14 days. Because the Star Challenge is not that tough to do. It's only 3 things that you'd restrict that you would normally eat. It's your choice what you restrict, so it's not actually someone impressing it on you. You can decide to have it or not to have it. If you don't have it, great, you lose some calories. If you do have it, well, you just had the food you've eaten before. So it's your choice what to do, so you've got 100% control. And also we've talked about one of your stars could be increased activity, as in doing more increased work at the gym or something like that. So there is a way of dieting which isn't restrictive, which isn't low carb, which isn't really low calorie, which isn't horrible that you can't eat the foods that you like. And that's what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. So I want you to think about, are you stuck in Plato's cave? Are you stuck in a situation where you think that dieting is always a hard thing to do? It's always a nasty thing to do. And be honest with yourself, because you probably do think that a diet is like that. Because if you didn't, you'd have probably lost the weight by now, because you could have put up with a diet that you were doing to lose weight. So if you are in Plato's cave and you do perceive diets as being horrible, please go back and watch some of the other videos and see if you can put right some of those things that you're feeling. So if you haven't done the star chart yet, go back and do it. Try and do it for a couple of days to see that it's not actually that bad restricting food. Try and count your steps using a step counter for a week or so to see how you can increase your activity there. Try and do healthy votes for a healthy lifestyle. So try and take the stairs instead of a lift. Try to park further away from the shops than you would normally park, so you get more steps in. Go up and down every aisle in the shop, all these things you can do to make the diet easier and make your lifestyle better, so the weight loss just comes as a result of doing these things rather than being the main driver. So if you are in Plato's cave, have a think about how you can break free now that you know that there is another way to diet, which isn't hard and it isn't horrible. And okay, it might take a little bit longer because you're not in a really severe calorie deficit and you're not doing massive amounts of cardio. But long term, that's going to be easier to sustain and easier to stick to, and something you're going to enjoy a little bit more. So, and if you watch this video but you haven't watched yesterday's video or listened to yesterday's podcast, if you're listening back on the podcast, then you should go and listen to or watch the diet trap, because that will set you up for today's thing. Because the diet trap is all about avoiding those pitfalls and running blindly towards the light. And Plato's cave is sort of like that. If you are in Plato's cave, that's what you'll do all the time, because you just go blindly as fast as you can, because you want the hurt and the horribleness to be over as soon as possible. So you need to take a step back and think about how to adjust your lifestyle and make positive votes for the way you want to be. So I hope that was helpful. Please leave comments below. A bit of a philosophical one today rather than straight up let's talk about calories. But it's important to identify where you are in terms of your mental outlook, in terms of how you perceive diets. Because if you always go into a weight loss program or fat loss program thinking, this is going to be difficult, I don't like this, then that will happen. You won't like this, and it will be difficult, because we generally tend to produce stuff that we think is there already. So, for example, in business, if I was to think, it's really hard to make money in gyms, then it would be hard for me to make money in gyms, because I would always be looking for a reason why that would be. If it was, it's really hard to get nutrition clients, then it would be hard for me to get nutrition clients, because I would always be thinking that way. And you've got to think about the same way. If you always think, diets are hard, well, then you'll seek out diets that are hard to fulfill that prophecy that you've done. And when you come across a diet that isn't hard, you go, what is this? This isn't a diet. This can't be right. And you potentially don't believe that it actually is something you can do. And we've had people say that on Target Lean, like, when is it supposed to get harder? Because it doesn't seem like a diet. It doesn't seem hard. And we're like, well, actually, yeah, this is the diet. You know, this is what we do. It's not hard. And they go, well, shouldn't I feel it more? Shouldn't I be in more pain and more torture? It's like, no, sorry, just stuff you like to eat, and losing weight. Sorry about that. But people don't believe it, and I've had it in my personal practice as well. People saying they don't think it's a diet, doesn't feel like a diet. But that's the best diet, where you don't have to think about it, we don't have to worry about it. So that's where you need to be. That's where you need to think about getting, and all the tools are there. They're all in the videos and in the trainings on my website that you can go and do. It's all there. If you're having trouble, comments below, and I'll help you out. Okay, have a great rest of your day. I've got to do another video later on, which will catch us up to today's videos. Okay, thanks for watching and have a great day. I'll see you later.